Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Mathis Show. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, as wet as it may have been. What a week we have coming up here in politics. It looks like Judge Brett Kavanaugh will be confirmed to the high court. That vote could come today or tomorrow. Through all the theatrics that we saw last week, all the grandstanding, the power is going to shift in the high court. And within 2 years, Donald Trump will have his second Supreme Court appointment. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I did catch a little bit of the Raven game yesterday. Good win. Congratulations. Who was the quarterback, Kelly, for the Buffalo Bills? Was it their punter? It's like a third-string quarterback. A win's a win. Totally understand. Did you notice, though, that M&T Bank Stadium was about half full? No, it was not because of the rain. That's going to be the official excuse. Realize, ladies and gentlemen, they were still selling tickets to that game at the box office as of a couple days ago. I'm assuming it was officially a sellout one way or another yesterday because it was locally televised, and the NFL contract rules, when it comes to the broadcast rights, the team has to have a sellout in order for it to be televised in the team's home market. Said last week, the chickens are coming home to roost in the NFL. Actually, I caught a little bit of the overtime in the Pittsburgh game. A friend of mine's a Steeler fan, so I watched overtime in the Pittsburgh game, which ended up as a tie. See, they've changed the rules around, so it's very difficult for me to follow the NFL now because two rules changed in overtime. First of all, I thought they went more than one quarter. I thought it was 2 quarters. I could be wrong on that, but I thought it was 2 quarters in overtime. They changed that, and evidently my understanding now is that first team to score is the winner. And that's the way it used to be back in the day. Then they changed it where each team would have one possession in the first quarter of overtime. I don't know. It just seems like a tie in the NFL is so uneventful, so anticlimactic. It's like as anticlimactic as watching Chris West trying to give a speech on conservatism. It just, you work and you're waiting for something to finally happen, and it doesn't. So a tie. I guess that's depends on how you look at it. That could be a half win, a half loss. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. Donald Trump has gotten under the Democrats' skin. That is for sure. Elizabeth Warren talking about invoking the 25th Amendment. This was something that had been brought up in the very beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, and then it kind of disappeared into the background until that op-ed last Thursday came out from a senior White House official. We don't know who that official is, saying that Donald Trump's own staff had contemplating invoking the 25th Amendment to remove a constitutionally elected president, that is, Donald Trump. And now we're hearing an awful lot about the 25th Amendment, and Elizabeth Warren over the weekend floating that idea out there. Former President Barack Obama hitting the campaign trail starting off on Friday. Did you see the way, by the way, that was reported on over the weekend? That Obama had hit the campaign trail to speak a message of unity. That we need to just get along. Did anybody actually watch the speech on Friday? It was an absolute broadside torpedo on American democracy. It's exactly what it was. Now, I will admit Barack Obama was very charismatic. And as I said on Friday, we saw the Obama of old, a re-energized Obama of old going back to 2007, 2008. Really when he was in the prime of his political career, before he kind of got soiled by the whole process and spent all of his political capital in the Affordable Care Act, lost the House, lost the Senate. The policies that he pushed led to the creation of the Tea Party movement. People finally woke up and understood what American exceptionalism is. Led to the Republicans taking the House, taking the Senate, taking the majority of governorships across the country, and then eventually to Donald Trump becoming the 45th president of the United States. That was all thanks to Barack Obama. And now you have the chair of the DNC over the weekend saying that the Democrats are re-energized. Doesn't really get into the weeds on why. Of course, they have levied a full-out war against Donald Trump, which I think is a great thing for the Republican Party. And let me be very clear about something. I am done playing nice in the sandbox. I really am. I thought about this over the weekend. I am done capitulating to the opposition. I am done playing nice. So right now, I'm going to pop a little champagne, and I'm going to celebrate what will be the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. And then I'm looking to the third pick. And I'll tell you what, I'm not conceding the House 60 days from now, roughly 60 days from now. And if we lose the House, I don't care. Because I got to tell you something, nationally speaking, the Republican Party is worthless. And other than the tax bill, they have done nothing to move forward on the agenda of this president. And whether you like Donald Trump or not, it really doesn't matter. He's running on national sovereignty. He's running on deregulation. At least draconian regulation. Good. About time. Getting conservatives on the high court. Getting conservatives in the lower courts. And the Republican Party in Maryland, exact same as nationally. No compass. No direction. At all. We have thrown away 4 years of Republican governorship in this state. I'm sorry. I'm done, Kelly. I'm done with this. I'm done. It is time that as conservatives, we stand up and we demand that the politicians that we put in office deliver on the ideology that they ran on. It's about time. And I'll tell you something. I could care less what happens in this midterm election. Right now, I am laser focused on 2020. Let Barack Obama do his little tour. Let him stump for the Democrats. Good. Obama's the best thing to happen to the Republican Party since Ronald Reagan. I support it. Democrats are energized on what? At least Elizabeth Warren is being sincere. On removing a constitutionally elected president. That's what they're running on. And that's all they got. Not playing to the opposition rhetoric anymore. Got a lot of big news coming out this week, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I could get into it today, but I can't. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the latest. A lot of stuff happening, with the program, among some other things. Can't wait to share it with you. Taking the lead now. Everybody knows I love horse racing. We're going to set the pace of the race. What a missed opportunity locally the Republican Party has had. It's been an abysmal failure on so many different levels. I don't know. I mean, does Governor Hogan get a second term? Yeah, to save money as he probably will. But let me tell you something. It ain't the lock of the week. It's not the lock of the week by any means. Nationally, I'm not sure the Democrats are energized. Locally, you better believe they are. Ben Jealous, the nominee for governor over Rashawn Baker, wrote a piece about this in the Baltimore Sun a couple weeks ago, an op-ed. Governor Hogan is banking on this state, which goes 2-1 Democrat, this is the math, ladies and gentlemen, is looking for moderates. That's his game plan. To hell with the base, I need moderate Democrats to win a second term as governor. Do you see moderate Democrats in this state right now? Look at the tail of the tape. Is that what you see? No. They voted for Ben Jealous, extreme left. Baltimore County Executive, Johnny O. I've met Johnny a couple times. Good guy, but far, far, far left. Moderate Democrat would have been State Senator Jim Brochin. It's not what the state's looking for right now. They're looking for extreme liberalism. At least the Democrats are. The other thing I brought up in that op-ed was you don't have the O'Malley factor. Had a lot of friends that were Democrats. They'd had it with O'Malley. A villain is a good thing. O'Malley's not a factor right now. It's a midterm, non-presidential election. It's going to be very low voter turnout. It's not a guarantee for this governor. Sure, I'll vote for him. I hope he wins. It's better than Ben Jealous. But I'll tell you something. Ben Jealous at least is putting a platform out, an agenda on what he wants to do with the state. I think it would be disastrous, but he's not running out the clock. Meanwhile, nationally, where is the party on any on any of the agenda items of Donald Trump? You have his own parties torpedoing him. Fine, there's a lot of people that don't like Donald Trump. Don't like him individually, don't like the style, don't like the rhetoric. But again, what did he run and win on? Let's focus on that for 1 second. As the party not only has turned their back on a constitutionally elected president, is writing op-eds in the New York Times talking about embracing a banana republic. And that's what it is. When you no longer have the peaceful transfer of power, that is what is on the table right now. That is how high these stakes are. As Barack Obama said back in 2009 to half the country, all the Republicans, hey, you don't like the fact that I'm president? Go win elections. Remember that? And what did the American people do? They said, you know what? That's a good idea, Mr. President. Let's come up with something, what shall we call it? The Tea Party movement. And we took the House, we took the Senate, we took the majority of governorships across the country. We started winning state legislatures across the country. Almost caught Obama at the wire in the midterm election of 2012. And then control the White House, the Senate, and the House in 2016. And then we flipped the high court on top of it with 2 conservative justices. At least there will be after Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed. And now you don't have the Democrats that are trying to unite around one another to win elections because they're scared. And they understand that what they run on simply does not resonate with the American people. And that is one of fear, division, hatred, draconian regulation, and an overreach of the federal government that dives into every aspect of our lives. And even for all the youth out there that may embrace Bernie Sanders, a self-described socialist, and may even embrace socialism without fully understanding what it is, they still don't agree with the Democratic ideology. And the game plan from the Democrats is wash, rinse, repeat of the same thing that does not land with the American people. And it hasn't landed for the last 8 years. And I'm watching Barack Obama at the University of Illinois on Friday. And briefly, I'll tell you something. I've changed my mind on this over the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. When I saw that, I thought, you know what? Obama, maybe he could be a danger to the Republican Party. Because his politics aside, when he's hitting his stride and he's not angry, he's a good messenger. Arguably the best in the Democratic Party. But then I went back and I watched the speech again over the weekend. I watched the entire thing again over the weekend because of the reports that came out. And the reports didn't match what I thought I saw on Friday. Again, he did a good job delivering a very dark message. Really, it was one about how the Republican Party is paranoid. It was one that attacked, honestly, half of the American electorate. It was divisive. It was the Obama that I remembered over the last 8 years. Divide, distract. He did it with charm. But when I'm reading these reports in the news about how the President Obama stood up and gave a speech of unity, I'm thinking, I don't remember that, Kelly. That's not what I remember on Friday. I went back and I watched it again. It's not what I remember because that was not the speech that he delivered. It was a divisive speech. And what do we hear in the media all the time? In the press, what do we hear? The Democrats are not running an election on impeaching Donald Trump. They don't want to focus on that. Yeah, they do. Elizabeth Warren, we need to seriously consider invoking the 25th Amendment. Running with the leaks that are coming out of the White House in this op-ed piece that was published on Thursday. It's scary times, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, just before I forget, as I'm watching Barack Obama's speech from the University of Illinois on Friday, I'm rewatching it over the weekend, He has the audacity. He's talking about Donald Trump targeting a free press. First of all, Trump is spot on with the fake news thing. But Donald Trump has done nothing to silence a free press, to go after a free press, to punish a free press. And Barack Obama had the audacity during that speech to say, "Do you remember me when I was president going after Fox News?" I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a rhetorical question or not. Yeah, I do. Multiple times. I remember you going after James Rosen. I remember you wiretapping members of Fox News. I remember you trying to kick Fox News off the grounds of the White House to the point where the other networks, the competitors of Fox News, stood up and said, "This is probably a bad idea. This is a war on a free press from the executive branch." I remember, President Obama, your Department of Justice wiretapping reporters on Capitol Hill. I remember you using the FCC to try to control content coming out of newsrooms. I remember you using every arm of the federal government to target and punish political opposition, from the Department of Justice to the IRS to the Bureau of Land Management to the EPA. I do remember that. I kind of forgot about it briefly because I can only follow so many shiny things at one time. I do remember all that. Donald Trump complains, while I'll give you credit, maybe a little too much, that he's not getting a fair shake, but he's not. New York Times never should have published that op-ed piece last Thursday from an anonymous source. And the more time that goes by on that, the more it bothers me. A senior White House official. Can you at least tell us what position the individual holds? In generality, is it a secretary? Is it a member of the cabinet? Is it the janitor? Don't need to know who the person's name is. At least to put some credibility behind this. And Donald Trump needs to move forward on a Saturday massacre, an investigation. He needs to find out who is removing documents off of his desk. This is ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. But we're focusing on the rhetoric, the terminology of Donald Trump, because he's saying that the New York Times should hand over this leaker, this individual. Yeah, I'm sure Trump does want to know who it is. Wouldn't you? If you were running an organization and somebody is in dereliction of duty, insubordination, not following your orders, stealing stuff off your desk, would you have a problem with that? Unlike everybody else, I don't know who this individual was, but you read the op-ed in the New York Times. It's littered with foreign policy, so I'm guessing it's somebody within the intelligence community or the Defense Department. And I think Donald Trump has done pretty well when it comes to foreign policy. I think Obama did pretty bad. It was the way Obama kicked off his presidency, was the apology tour. Then after the Arab Spring, we backed the Muslim Brotherhood. Consulate gets firebombed in Libya. We turn our back on Israel. Vladimir Putin begins to reconstruct the former Soviet Union. ISIS expands. But the problem with Donald Trump is foreign policy. Because he has his own version of a Russia reset with Vladimir Putin, or he meets with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. And unlike Barack Obama, at least Donald Trump was honest in managing expectations with North Korea. Point of order on that. Where did the nuclear expansion come with North Korea? That was under Bill Clinton. And if you look at the North Korean nuclear deal and the Iranian nuclear deal, they look very similar. Same rhetoric going back 25 years ago, whatever it was, when Bill Clinton negotiated the original nuclear deal with North Korea. You want to talk about anti-American? Look no further than the Iranian nuclear deal that Obama struck basically behind closed doors, again doing what he does best, which is to circumvent the United States Constitution, which was the treaty provision, negotiating a deal with the Ayatollah while they are taking U.S. sailors hostage at gunpoint, chanting death to America, death to Israel. They want to wipe Israel off the face of the map. Our friend Ben helping assist the president in circumventing the treaty provision. John Kerry, Secretary of State at the time, when he was asked why this did not go through the proper channels, which was for it to be a treaty, which by definition, that's what it was. It's not an agreement, it's a treaty. John Kerry says because it never would have been ratified. Because Congress and the American people realized how bad it was and how it did not benefit America in any way, shape, or form. And that's why Donald Trump is president right now. Whether it was him running on getting illegal immigration under control, on not letting bad players into our country, on not giving Iran the bomb, on rolling back regulation so the American economy can prosper and thrive, or getting rid of the individual mandate within the Affordable Care Act that nobody wanted. The marquee legislative accomplishment of Barack Obama, who is now back on the campaign trail, that drove millions and millions and millions of people onto government dependence. And now he's going to be the messiah of the Democratic Party. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because like all the rhinos out there, honestly, at the end of the day, Barack Obama's an empty suit. And make no mistake about it, a lot of Republicans are also. I really don't care what happens 2 months from now in these midterm elections. I really don't. We control the House and the Senate right now. We're doing nothing with it. We have a Republican governor in the state of Maryland. We're doing nothing with it. So I have no faith in my own party. So I don't really care if we keep the House or we keep the Senate. They're not going to do anything with it anyway. Go ahead. Impeach Donald Trump. So what? You're not going to have 2/3 in the Senate to remove him. So what? He's not going to resign. He's not going to walk away. If anything, it may be the best thing to happen to the Republican Party. Maybe it unites us and it creates whatever the next version of the Tea Party movement is. Gets people to understand what constitutional conservatism is. Maybe some people will read the Constitution. When we get to the point where you have a party that is embracing a banana republic, which is what we are talking about right now, even if nobody understands it. Mark Levin talked all the time about a soft coup. This is no longer soft. And that's why I say I am done playing nice in the sandbox with the rhetoric. Calling this as I see it. Locally, nationally, could care less who it offends. Doesn't matter anymore. Really doesn't. It's no longer a soft coup. When you're talking about invoking the 25th Amendment, when the Republicans were branded as the party of obstruction for 6 years, all of the abuses of power under Barack Obama, weaponizing the federal government, you could never talk about impeaching that guy, and he should have been time and time and time again. Could never discuss it. It's a non-starter. It's bad rhetoric, bad strategy. Not only were they trying to impeach Donald Trump before he was even sworn in, the Maxine Waters, now you have Elizabeth Warren talking about invoking the 25th Amendment of the Constitution to remove a duly constitutionally elected president. It's not a soft coup. It's moves like this, ladies and gentlemen, that lead to revolutions. It is. You think people were frustrated under the Tea Party movement. But maybe this is what this very young country needs to go through. And I understand why so many citizens in this country are removed. It was a saying from the old great Ron Smith, and I always hated this saying. But he used to joke around. He said if elections were that important, you wouldn't be allowed to do it. Maybe it's true. But even with everything that's gone on over the last decade, I don't believe that. And I think the second that collectively we do believe that, we've abandoned the republic. Because we do have elections. Now, I will say this. If they were to remove this president via the 25th Amendment, then elections really don't matter. They really don't matter. Democrats don't have to like this president. They're the opposition. The same reason the Republicans didn't have to like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or Jimmy Carter. There's a pendulum that goes back and forth. Healthy debate. There's a reason why laws are so difficult to get passed. This country was designed to be slow and lethargic. There's a reason we don't operate under a democracy, but rather a republic. It was the genius and the foresight of our forefathers. And the Democrats right now are being very anti-American, and they're trying to strip all that away. And they're trying to strip away the voice of half of the American people who spoke up and voted in 2016 and constitutionally elected Donald Trump. You don't like him? As Barack Obama said, go win an election in roughly 2 months, flip the House, flip the Senate, or start game planning for what you're going to do in 2020. And other than Barack Obama, I don't see anybody of any value with the Democrats right now. And Barack Obama is just a good salesman and nothing more. Doesn't have a message. He's just good at delivering a bunch of junk. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a jam-packed week coming up. Catch the Jimmy Mathis Show Monday through Friday. Catch it at jimmymathisshow.com. Should be your number one destination for the program. Follow me on Twitter at Jimmy Mathis Show, of course, on Facebook. Get the program on iTunes, SoundCloud, all the usual suspects where you find your podcast. A lot of news, personally, coming out this week on the program. Got to get some of the T's crossed, I's dotted, but I'll be bringing that to you probably midweek. Everybody have a wonderful week. Thank you very much, Kelly. See you tomorrow. Go O's. Bye.
I turn on Fox News and then CNN, but it's the same dang thing all over again. The world's in the toilet and the market's in the tank. Well, I can't fix that. No, but I can fix a drink, pour it on ice, mix it on up and get you feeling right. I can get you buzzed, I can get you smiling, I can make you feel like you're sitting on an island. I can make it fruity, or I can make it strong. All you gotta do is tell me what you want. Put it to your lips, take a little sip, and tell me what you think. Yeah, I can fix a drink.